Chip Pickering, and I'm the CEO of Encompass. And I just want to welcome everyone to another one of our leadership webinar series. Dave Wuensch is going to lead a great conversation on how to make sure that you use your data, fix your data, and unlock your deals. No one runs a panel better than David. He's going to be in November in Tampa with us at the Encompass show, November 2nd through the 4th. I believe you have three panels that you're running there, and I've really enjoyed all the over the last, I don't know, 11, 12 years, Dave.
Well, it may seem like 11 or 12 to you. I think it's only been like 8 years though, Chip.
Okay. All right. Well, a great West Point grad, a Cubby fan. Go Cubs today as they take on San Diego Padres, and we hope the best for them. But I'm looking forward to a great webinar. It's very much a solution-oriented, market-based, relationship-based, how Axcent Networks can really help those of you unlock deals using good data. So, David, take it from here.
Thank you, Chip, and congratulations to your Rebels.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to explore how Axcent Networks helps carrier relations and access teams move from chaos to clarity. Things like disconnected but still billing circuits, missed reterms, and costly month-to-month charges drain resources. In this session, we're going to show how Axcent's purpose-built software as a service solution surfaces billing mismatches, streamlines disconnects, and puts strategy back in your hands. As Chip said, I'm David Wuensch. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing Axcent Networks. I'm joined today by Axcent Network's Data Integrity Solutions team. Jared Rollins, Scott Kilgore, and Greg Payne. On the Encompass August 20th webinar, we heard directly from industry leaders about the chaos bad data causes across the wholesale ecosystem. Today, we'll connect those pain points to the solutions Axcent has built, showing you how we solve these challenges with a purpose-built software platform. So, back on August 20th, Ben Edmond described how Indetel once delivered a 60,000-row building list riddled with errors, missing zip codes, wrong cities, and unstructured notes. The result, partners couldn't match records and opportunities were lost. Jared, you want to take a minute and talk about how Axcent solves problems like this?
Oh, yes. We are always fighting big bad data, right? So, of course, when we talk about bad data, we're talking about any data set that fails to, meet established quality standards for its intended purposes. So, it's going to hinder your reliable decision making. It's going to lead to bad analysis. It's going to lead to, business disruptions, financial losses, possibly even damaged reputation. So we want to clean up our data, and our what we qualify as bad data could be any number of things for any number of businesses. Could be that the data is just plain inaccurate. It's just factually incorrect. Could be that, you've got missing data or incomplete data, fields are missing, attributes are missing, creating gaps in understanding. Could be that the data is just inconsistent, meaning that the format is just all over the place, doesn't follow a good structure. Could be non-standard, not sticking to whatever your business logic or maybe even universal logic in some cases. Could be that the data is outdated or just irrelevant in any other way, according to your business need. Could be duplicate data. All these things, we talk about being bad data, and a lot of the causes for this bad data, we've seen in our experience boil down to a few things. It could be manual, just operator error, right? You enter the data incorrectly. Could be poorly integrated systems. You know, they've got different systems that they don't talk to each other well. They don't communicate or transmit data between one another well. Or it could just be issues with data collection, ETL processes where data is extracted, transformed, and loaded into another system, and it's just not done properly or in a way that maintains the integrity of the data. So what we try to do here at Axcent is just to shore up those areas with some of our tooling that we're working on. We be able to improve manual entry errors, poorly integrated systems, and some of the ways that we do that is with our system and helping, especially with ETL processes where we extract data, we're able to transform it into a good, clean format, good before we load it into a system, whether it's a warehouse, whether it's our tooling, our internal tooling that helps to be able to manage it in a clean way. Some of the ways that we are able to do that may involve some scripting, may involve some different processes. It could be involved. It could be some AI assisted processes. We've heard AI being a big tool these days as far as how to help to manage our data. So a lot of times where we used to rely on maybe OCR techniques, if we were reading a PDF or a scanned document, now we can kind of lean in on AI to help assist in ingesting some of that data, reading it in a clean way. A lot of times it's smarter than traditional OCR. So we're able to help do that to pull in data, load it in a centralized, normalized way, and then we're able to take advantage of some of the internal tools that we have to perform matching, perform synchronization across systems. And usually what we're trying to do is help to turn that data into a decision, right? So we want to be able to assist with that. A lot of times that means we're helping our clients move from a spreadsheet to a system that is more beneficial. And I'm not bashing spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are wonderful. They're good for what they're intended for. But a lot of times spreadsheets get turned into something that they weren't designed for. And so we certainly can help with that and try to get data taken from original sources, whether they're APIs or databases, data warehouses, things of that nature, and loaded into a single source of truth where you can be confident about the decisions being made. And when we talk about having a single source of truth or single sources of truth, that in some cases there may be more than one, but we really just want to be able to have our clients rely on the insights that they are able to gather from their data, because all of us, when we have data, we expect that the insights that we derive from our data are trustworthy. And that's the main point. We want to be able to trust the insights that come from our data. So a lot of times when knowledge is transferred, that the insight that comes along with it, a lot of times the data that goes with that insight has been manipulated. Maybe it's loaded into a spreadsheet. Maybe it's been altered. And so we pass that data along with the insight, and then we assume that data is still trustworthy when a lot of times it's not anymore. So we try to help eliminate that. It's kind of like that game that you play when you're a kid where you start with a single source of truth. I mean, you whisper a word or a phrase in someone's ear, and then you pass it along, and then when you finally get to the end, it's nowhere near what it was originally. So we try to do that here. We want to make sure that The single source of truth is trustworthy. The insights derived from it are trustworthy, and we're able to do that with some of the tooling that we've created here.
Hey, David, I think Jared hit a couple of key points that I thought are very important. We've done data reconciliation projects at Axcent for a number of years now, data matching, reconciliation between, network data and financial data and inventory tools and whatnot. But two things that have kind of changed the game that he mentioned. One is AI, the ability to, on the intake side, to take non-traditional data sources like a scan or a PDF or a Word document in a contract and to pull data faster and more accurately from those non-traditional data sources is a big deal on the front end. And the second thing is APIs, to be able to get scheduled near real-time or real-time data from other data sources instead of having to, to pull files down or do uploads. Really opens up a world of possibilities in terms of being able to match data, reconcile data, or in the case of the example that you mentioned from Ben, to be able to match addresses and then highlight and then even recommend corrections on addresses that are incomplete or incorrect.
Yeah, and the idea really to eliminate those common causes, right? We talked about manual entry manual entry errors, poor integration between systems, just flaws in the ETL process in general. So a lot of the tools that Greg just mentioned are designed to do just that.
Yeah, to be able to do that faster, to take a 60,000 line list of addresses and then run it through a process via an API lookup, and then some of our algorithms is much faster than trying to do it in small batches, through an Excel file. The world's changed and it's much easier and much more possible to go through data like that in a timely manner and produce better results.
So Jared and Greg, we've come a long ways.
Yep.
Over the last 10 years from that technical term Kenny Dutton always liked to use about how we munge data to get it right. The use of the APIs, the AI assisted ingestion to extract clean data from contracts and invoices, the use of a centralized database. We've been doing three-way matching for years, and combining that with a unified reporting that helps give these teams a single source of truth, right?
Absolutely.
Another issue was brought up on August 20th. Kelly McClellan shared how type 2 expenses were left out of a large RFP, making signed contracts look profitable, but delivering no margin. Scott, you want to take us through how Axcent helps solve problems like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, David. Currently, I think this is an issue that almost everybody runs into that doesn't have some kind of centralized system that can ingest all this data. What most people may be dealing with is a system over here and a system over here, and you have to do ad hoc reports to try to figure out how to get them all these systems working together, trying to line up the data best you can. And in the end, you end up with guesstimations on a lot of profitability in some cases, and then like you mentioned, it turns out sometimes it ends up that's not profitable when you originally thought it would be. So we solved that, and to build off what Jared was saying, we have a system that can ingest data from all these systems. So it might be API connection. It could be a scheduled workflow ingest that makes something live or near live data, and it ingests from all these different systems into a centralized structure that we can then easily show analytics on the whole life cycle of whatever it is you want to see at that time, whether it be just all the way down to a single circuit, a whole invoice from one side to the other, just whatever it is that is important to the business. And that's all possible by enforcing more technical things like strict typing, normalized form databases in the back end to make make all this possible. And we simplify that down into just, what are the systems you use? What's the incoming data? We bring it all in, put it in the simple dashboard format, and then give you the specific insights that are important to you based on that.
Greg, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I was just saying, well, I was gonna say no and then say something, but yeah, as Scott's talking through that, I was just thinking through how difficult it is, to manage your type 2 expenses, circuit IDs in particular, is you're getting data from multiple sources, and that data isn't always formatted the same. You've got your vendor ID, or you got your circuit ID. The vendor has maybe a different circuit ID. It may be formatted one way, and in the way it comes from the vendor, you may have it formatted a different way, and one of your systems in your revenue system formatted another way, maybe without extra characters in your inventory system, and you need something to translate all that and put it together so that you can link them together and line up your costs with your contracts. With your deals, to make sure that you didn't miss anything. If you don't account for those things, those translations between those circuit IDs, then it would be real easy to miss things, and then to miss important things in the life cycle, like your reterm dates.
Right.
You don't want to end up upside down because you have ETLs or you hit an auto reterm at a different rate when you could have shopped it, or you could have retermed it at a rate that's still profitable to you. I think everybody understands that. Kelly did a fantastic job bringing that example up in the previous webinar. That if you haven't seen it, go back and to the Encompass website and listen to it. There's some great questions and scenarios in that webinar.
And I guess again, as you mentioned, Greg, we've been doing network billing reconciliation projects for over 10 years now, but with some of the newer technologies that's come out, and Scott's going to share a little bit more information on this later, but I mean, things like our COGS command center can help provide complete visibility into expenses, and life cycling can track links across can link every cost to revenue, and some building guardrails to protect margins from being eroded by hidden costs. I think those are, I guess, kind of wrapping up some of the things we covered there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've all seen it. A customer disconnects a service, but the vendor keeps billing because records don't align. Or a DS3 site runs at 10 times the expense compared to its revenue. So Scott, you want to talk about how we solve things like untracked or ghost circuits?
Yeah, ghost circuits. It's exactly as described. It's something you should be scared of. It's happens everywhere where there's unlinked data. So if you have incoming invoices for circuits that aren't being tracked somewhere and don't connect to some kind of status or specific disconnect date, or something that can tell a system that this shouldn't have billed, then you have no way of knowing that. You have no insight into if this is correct or not. And so what our solution provides is everything from a simple status of a circuit all the way down to projections, the history of the billing circuit, and what the price, what the amount should be for that circuit on a given invoice, and if it's disconnected and billing, it'll instantly pop on in our system. That's not something that should be happening, and it'll as that invoice comes in, it instantly shows up on screen, and we can call that out before it gets too far down the line, and open up those disputes right away.
Anything you want to add there, Greg?
Yeah, that life cycle tracking is a challenge, and being able to have a common place you can go to look at data, to look at your circuits, your costs, and see what's coming up for reterms, see what your ETLs are, to see what to match up your revenue and your expenses to, make sure you don't have any ghost circuits is a big deal. And most of us have been lacking a place we can go to see all that data easily. You have to stare and compare invoices to what you expect, versus your disconnect list or your inventory list. And it's hard to swivel chair all that info and keep it straight and go through your entire portfolio of circuits, in a given month. So having a single source or a single landing point to do that is a game changer.
All right. Yeah. I mean, again, as I mentioned, we've been doing network billing reconciliation for over 10 years now, but I mean, it's exciting. I mean, Axcent being able to prevent situations like that with lifecycle management solutions that track disconnects. You mentioned reterms, expirations, and be able to track them in real time, whether you want to track them, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever, with automated alerts to help stop those forgotten billing. And just, that cost to revenue visibility can eliminate some silent overspend. I guess that brings us to one other issue, could be referred to as operational overload. Kelly described how manual audits, spreadsheet sheets, VLOOKUPs, and endless cross checks are only way to catch mismatches. Jared, what was it that Kelly said? VLOOKs are only so good. Do you want to? I mean, these audits are slow, error prone, and impossible to scale. What is Axcent doing to improve that situation now?
Oh yes, I get to talk about Excel again. But I think we've been there before, right? So you've got spreadsheets that are managed by a person or a team of people. They are kind of the one source of truth, or one huge tracker that one person manages. One team has one, another team may have another, and they've got one that has maybe some inventory, maybe has some billing information in another, and then they want to do some sort of some audit to manually match these things. And so yes, it becomes an exercise in, let me do a VLOOKUP and check and make sure things sync up. I've been a part of some scenarios where we've done a VLOOKUP that had to run overnight because it was just so many records, and it was a little more complex than it needed to be. So we set up the VLOOKUP and just let the machine run, and in the morning we'd check it. So definitely very slow, very impossible to scale something like that. If there's a slight mistake and you've got to run it over again, then okay, now you've wasted hours of time. So definitely not something that you want to be doing on a regular basis. So in cases where we have to do manual audits, or what we prefer is to even have an automated reconciliation system, which is what we've built. Scott spoke to it a little bit earlier, where he talked about being able to see these things in real time or in near real time, where things don't match. They don't match between systems, and we're able to pick up on that immediately when a record is entered. You'll be able to. Our software calls that out for you to be able to see, hey, there's a match or a mismatch there that you need to take a look at. So definitely, that's a big part of what we want to do is helping to make that decision easier, make that process easier. They're able to even run those auditing tools and be able to see exactly what's out of line. You're muted, David.
Thank you, Jared. As you guys know, I'm excited about our automated reconciliation and our real-time lifecycle tracking and exception-based alerts. So these guys can fix things proactively instead of firefighting. again, I come back to those times where we did network billing reconciliation for years. Only 2 or 3 years later, we'd have to go clean it up again. So I think I'm excited about how some of this stuff can improve us along the way. But let's move forward to the issue that David Leffler brought up on August 20th. He shared how a customer requested a list of on-net and near-net buildings across 5 states. It took weeks to compile, involved multiple departments, and still contained errors. Obviously, they discussed how this wasted resources and damaged credibility. Greg, did you want to share what Axcent does today to help in situations like this?
Yeah, that situation hurts. I think we've all experienced that. Those audits or those fire drill requests for data that you don't have are frustrating and time consuming. And we've done a ton of them. I think what we're excited about now, and we'll show you a little preview here in a minute with Xsolve and Cogs Command Center and now we have a way to take that work that you can't avoid. You can't avoid the work it takes to pull that data together if you haven't done it, but we can take that work now and then make it repeatable over and over again, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you need it. You get that data once, and then you have it. As you get that data, then you can look to shore up your intake process. What process improvements can you make so you have that data next time? And in the past when we've done these big reconciliation projects, we'll run them and then we'll provide a file back to the customer that they can go use and analyze and run into a pivot table or throw into their database. But it's not easy. It's not easy to share that data. So I think now what we have is we have a means to share that data with those who want to dig into it at a deep level, and then also summarize that data at an executive level, so that your VPs, AVPs, whoever can look at it and get the data that they need to understand where you are with any given project. We talked earlier about APIs, how that makes it easier to pull in that data. David's effort, that he talked about pulling in that data, I think we talked about it earlier. There's some tools out there now with AI that make it much easier to ingest data that isn't in traditional data format. APIs make it much easier to pull in data from disparate sources. And then really all you need then is a combination of some manpower to fill in the gaps. You can never get around that, but you need a method or some good data fundamentals to take that data, put it together, and make it make sense. You can't get around the effort, but I think we can make the effort easier and get results faster, and then provide results that are shareable. Like Jared says often, we don't want to just produce data. We want to produce data that helps you make decisions, whether they're near-term escalation level decisions that have to be made in the moment, or if they're long-term strategic decisions. So I think, David, that's what we do, and I think that's what we offer in a situation like that.
Yeah, again, it excites me how we're now able to centralize contracts, inventory, and location data into one command center that Scott's going to talk about in a minute. Well, real-time dashboards and APIs give us instant visibility, and executive-ready reports that you guys can now deliver in minutes instead of months. As we reviewed a handful of problems and issues that were brought up on August 20th. But if we really want to put those in a big picture, I think they could really fit in 3 areas: operational inefficiencies, financial drains, and strategic blind spots. I mean, I think there was throughout, Kelly and Dave Leffler and Ben and Sean, they all shared different times in which people were slowed down with various operational inefficiencies, and the automation and streamlining that's available now is certainly can help reduce those operational efficiencies. Of course, the financial drain can be prevented with the real-time cost control that's associated there, and the point that was talked about data, having data you can make good decisions about, that you talked about. You were alluding to what Jared's thinking. being able to have data and the dashboards, and it's more than that, it's having insights. It's having insights to help eliminate those strategic blind spots, with dashboards and accurate reporting. Scott, you want to help us look at Axcent in action as opposed to a time of disconnected spreadsheets and billing mismatches and endless audits of, what does it mean to have a real-time dashboard that highlights mismatches and services cost-saving actions and reconciles lifecycle data and generates reports you can trust? So if you kind of would walk through the dashboard and the COGS command center and contract reader and lifecycle tracking, but
Means everything, right? Doesn't it, Scott? Like we produced data before, and Jared was giving us critiques of Excel, and they're valid, and I say they're valid, and I love Excel. I think I accelerated my career, no pun intended, on being able to leverage and use Excel. But Excel is hard to share. You can produce some great data and some great insights, but it's hard to update it, and it's hard to share it, and it's hard to collaborate with that data. Excel is a tool we developed internally. It's a tool that we used with some different projects that we have. And one of the big things that it's done is it's given us better means to share that data, to provide some analytics, and then even update data and send it downstream. It doesn't just intake data; it can also push data to your key systems. So what you're seeing now is just a demo mock-up of a dashboard that you might have to show you the state of your off-net costs. And at the top, you can see just some trend lines that might show you where you stand in terms of your past due, your out-of-term totals, or your expiring contracts. There's little click-throughs on your active circuits or maybe your disputes, whatever it is that's valuable to your business. We can throw it on a dashboard so you can quickly get a snapshot of where you stand with a particular project or a particular interest. And then with all of them, you can kind of click into it and then get more information. We can add Scott showing in the map, which can show you your on-net and kind of your off-net sites if you want to get a good visual of where your locations are. You can add tables and graphs and charts that give you the information you need, kind of at the start of your day to take the temperature on your business and what you need to do, whether you're at the executive level or if you're the one that's actually executing work on invoices, contracts, circuits, orders, et cetera. In the example, there's some great call outs at the bottom that just show you potential statuses on databases that you might be syncing to. So if you have API calls into Salesforce or an inventory system, or maybe your contract system or AR or whatever it is, inventory, whatever it is that you can imagine, then you can kind of just get a quick view and see how real time it is. That can matter to you if you're looking for things on a schedule or if you're pulling things, very, very quickly. But the idea of a great dashboard in this tool is to be able to, at a glance, just kind of see what's the state of your business, what's going well, what needs attention, and then you can set some goals. Then you can set some goals from there. Scott, if you want to go to the COGS command center, this is the detailed data, an example of what the detailed data might look like. Most of us are used to using spreadsheets, and those spreadsheets are, like I said, are great. What we have in the COGS command center kind of mimics that to a degree. It lets you see the in-depth detail in a column and row format, and then gives you kind of the basics of what you've got. Data in the COGS command center is sortable. You can click on header, like Scott, click on vendor. It'll sort it by, it'll alphabetize it, either ascending or descending. You can filter this data if you wanted to look up a particular project, or if maybe you wanted to look at, there's a particular project, or if you wanted to look at a particular bandwidth, or if you wanted to look at a particular location. This acts in some ways like a spreadsheet. It has some of the same capabilities, rows and columns of data, but with the ability to filter and to sort and to search and to hone in. In this example, we've got some drop downs on some common searches. Maybe you want to look at particular companies, often particular vendors or particular bands, and we made it quick and easy to do that. And all this data is customizable. The great thing here as well is you can set up complicated filters. Filter multiple columns, and then you can download it. You can export it to a CSV or an Excel file if you still want to manipulate that data or do some review in Excel or share it that way. So better than Excel, but sometimes you want Excel, Jared. Sometimes you want it, and it's nice to be able to download it and maybe manipulate it and do some comparisons, and then come back here and make updates. The great thing too is you can link this data to other sources. You can have click-throughs to link to maybe your primary source of data if you wanted to go directly to Salesforce and see the Salesforce record, for example, or to a contracts database or an inventory database or whatever you may have. This tool can be your source of truth, or it can be kind of the aggregated version of the data from all your various databases of records. So let's move down to, and there's the update record. Scott's showing you the update record ID, where you can go through and make updates to particular columns and sections, update addresses, what have you. It's a great tool to look through and see where you're missing data as well. You can pull data from your various sources, and you also have the capability of pushing data into your sources as well if you choose. This could be your entry point into updating your records in other systems. Scott, go to the contract reader. We'll just show you a couple of things real quick. The contract reader is a great tool. We talked about the use of AI, and this is something we've heard from many customers where they have contracts related to maybe it's circuits, maybe it's colo spaces, space and power, and they don't have that data in a database, or maybe they have some of it. Maybe you're keeping up with it now, but you don't have your history. This contract reader, what it does is it uses a little bit of AI integration to take data and pull it out of your non-traditional sources. So this is a real simple. You just saw them basically drag and drop a document, and in the bottom you can see the results. We have it looking for a customer name, revenue numbers, term dates, what have you. So basically what this does is it looks for your key data. We can help you define the terms, the attributes that you want, and then build a tool to look at it. And with this view, you have an opportunity to review it manually as well before you give it the okay. We know these tools are great and this makes it faster, but sometimes you still want to have a knowledgeable person take a look at it before you pull that data into your database. Go to the Scott, you want to go to the invoice insert? This is another one that's similar, where you can use this to, excuse me, to reconcile your invoices. And it'll pull in your invoices, match them up with a vendor and ban in your database, and then let you see if you're getting the expected invoice amounts that you thought. So this is a great way to quickly do a automated stare and compare of your invoices versus your expected costs, to validate those invoices, approve them, or highlight disputes, or notify of any changes. So again, this is just another way to leverage the technology to make that job easier. All of this, is helpful in you managing the life cycle of your off-net circuit costs, or your space and power costs, your colo costs. If we can make it faster, then you can spend more time doing other things. You can get to reducing your costs and increasing your revenues at a better rate. So, in a nutshell, that's the quick preview of Xsolve and the COGS Command Center.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Greg. So, executives care about results, and with Axcent, you're going to get cost control by reducing Netex waste and stopping billing surprises. Clean, normalized data ingested by AI for accuracy. You're going to get strategic confidence with reporting leadership can rely on. Faster execution, replacing weeks of cleanup with automation. And measurable ROI in just 90 days. So, you heard the Payne back in August 20th. You've seen a solution now, and now we just encourage you, if you want to learn more about our solution, is to schedule a discovery session with Axcent. you can simply go on our website and click for a 30-minute discovery session, and we can work on that. And we can certainly help you move from firefighting to proactive optimization, delivering measurable results that protect margins and restore clarity. So you could use the Q&A section here for any questions you've got for the Axcent Network's data integrity solution team. If you have any, we certainly would be happy to address any questions you have. You can also follow up with myself if you like. David Wuensch, 214-470-5599, dwinch at axcentnetworks.com. I can, let me just, I'll share that on the screen right now. If you got it, again, if you got some Q&A, please send those. Hopefully I'm sharing the right screen with my name and phone number and contact information. And if any questions, we appreciate everybody's time today. Scott, anything you would like to add? Or
Yeah, on one important note is on the demo we showed how you can insert one contract manually or one invoice manually and see the results on that. But an important note there would be the optimal way to do that would be to create a system. Maybe it's either a workflow API, some kind of connection to your system that either has the contracts and that way it can ingest the contracts and ingest the invoices automatically into Xsolve, and that would make it so you don't have to have a manual step ingesting that.
all right, Greg, anything you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate what Scott said. I think our approach to all these projects is you can't get away from the need to have expertise in dealing with this data and some hands-on keyboards kind of validating things. But the more you can do through automation and effective use of the tools available to you, the better. If you can take in and or ingest large quantities of data that's fairly simple and routine, then that saves so much time. Then you can spend your focus, the folks, your expertise that needs to look at it can spend their time working on things that really need their attention and not simply validating data that's already correct. So yeah. I appreciate that and appreciate your time today listening in.
Yeah, I echo that. I think over the years, we've always talked about the importance of having good data integrity. As we move forward into more and more automation, I don't think that statement could be any more true. I mean, bad data and missing data can certainly mess us up. It really messes up automation, especially messes up automation along the way. And then I guess the other part of it is that I'm really excited about is the times that we've spent doing network billing and reconciliation, and now we have tools available to keep it clean. So it's worth it more and more to get that data cleaned up to make the automation run, and then have tools like Axcent has to offer to help keep it clean.
Yeah, that's a great point. We talked before about having to go back in and redoing an audit, months later to find similar problems. Now you can have that, the user can run it at their fingertips and see what gaps there are in their data. And that'll point them to quick process improvements or quicker updates instead of having to wait and then go through a lengthy, painful process to see where you stand in the future. That ability to have real-time or near real-time updates or error reporting, I think is a game changer.
All right. Well, I don't see any questions coming in at this time. But again, we thank everybody for their time today.